Okay, guys, I've got the legend. I call him the legend because I know he knows legends. He knows Mr. Ted Lirikos, who's I'm a huge fan of. His name is Dai, and I'm going to have him pronounce his last name because he's a gentleman. We're going to have Dai come on. Sorry, Day, I apologize, Day. Day is, in a sense, a remarkable story because this guy loves private money. Day, I like to call it hard money. That's kind of the dirty word, but guys, it's private money. Let's get Day on. Legend, look at this guy.
Okay. No.
Hey, good morning, Day.
Good morning.
You look like a rock star, but you look like Mr. Hollywood.
No. Listen, everybody, I have to apologize. This is my first time on this. I've never done this before on Zoom. Actually, my daughter set this account up for me last night.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
never done Zoom before.
A closer, but yet when it comes to technology, he's got an assistant. But yes. Day, that's okay. It's all a learning curve, right? It's not rocket science.
It is 100%. 100%. So anyways, good morning, everyone. Kevin asked me to come on and sort of give you guys a background on what I do and also a little bit about the private money business. And so I'll give you guys a little bit of a bio, a very quick one. I started in this business.
Day, I want to show you something quickly, Day.
Sure.
I just want to quickly finish it because I want to ask you a question before you start because
sure.
I know you've got an amazing story to share with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you something. Let me tell you what, when you see this on the market, okay, I'm going to share with you my screen. Let me go to why I know we're going into an amazing investment market is Newsom back, I believe it was last year. Newsom last year, he has put a stop on investors going to the courthouse and going and buying up bulk distressed properties. Like what are the firms? It was Blackstone is one of them.
Yeah. Because they ended up dominating the market and they priced a lot of people out.
Absolutely. So now Gavin, so he did a good thing. He stopped them. So now the Californians have a chance of getting these getting a good deal really at the end of the day.
Yes.
But with a great deal there is
stop the David and Goliath situation.
Absolutely. So so this is why I know, guys. First of all, I gave you the evidence. Forbearance is coming up. It hasn't got extended a couple of weeks ago by Biden. It's not getting extended again that we know of. It might, but there's no guarantees. Interest rates are going to go up early this year again. The second course, they're going to go up because inflation's going up, prices are going up. It's just kind of common sense, guys. And then the second thing is this notice here that Newsom put a stop to big property buyers, big hedge funds coming into California and buying up in bulk out deals. Day, I want you to talk about that, but the first thing that I wanted you to do this morning, I'm very curious, and so is our audience. How did you get into this business? How did you? Let's go back in time.
Sure.
Yeah, how did you get?
Absolutely.
How did you get into this business?
I'll give you guys the Cliff Notes version, so we don't have to get into the all the details. I started in this business in the late '80s when I got out of school, and I actually started doing conventional loans. And that lasted about 6 months because I didn't understand. I got really frustrated on how there was a need for so much paperwork. It wasn't necessary to me. So I reached out to a good friend of my father's who was in the business. And luckily for me, he was winding down. He was at the end of his career. And he basically said to me, why don't I teach you the business and I'll give you my book. And the book was priceless because without private investors, I mean, to me, a private lender is only as good as his investors. If you don't have investors and you have to go to somebody else, now there's another hand in the jar. So he gave me his book. And the best part of all is that he ended up, what's the word I'm looking for? He basically told all of his investors to trust me because at the time I was 22 years old.
22 years old.
Yeah. I was
okay, but how did you, guys? Okay, how did you get there? How did you get? Where are you from, Dave? First of all, where are you from?
I'm from Vietnam.
Okay, so Happy New Year, by the way. Guys, please, it's very important. I have lots of Vietnamese friends. Happy New Year, brother. Okay,
Thank you.
This is a grand story. You've got to go deeper, please, Dave. You're 22 years old. There's no way you got that successful that quick. It had to have started way before that.
Oh, no, listen, I was in school for finance, but then when I got out, I basically started doing conventional loans, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I don't understand. Guys, to me, at the end of the day, common sense should always prevail. And there's no common sense in the conventional market. Zero. I don't even know how you guys deal with it. I don't even know how people do conventional loans. I mean, I would lose my mind if I did conventional loans in this day and age. With all the paperwork that's required, that's why I got into the private money business, because it's all common sense. Everything I do is common sense. Okay, so there are a lot of private money guys out there that will request for a lot of paperwork. It's garbage. It's not needed. When you guys, hopefully we'll do some business together, you guys will see, my files would require about 35 pages of paper. That's it. My main concern is, what's the property worth? What do you want to borrow? How are you gonna pay me back? What else is there? Correct? I mean, think about that. I mean, what's the property worth?
Yes, yeah.
How much you want to borrow, and how are you gonna pay me back?
Right.
That's the primary, that's basically private money in a nutshell.
Daya, how did you go from going to finance school, which is great, but private money is, you have to have a good understanding of private money in a sense of how it works. Were you early in your life?
100%, Kevin. And here's the thing. A lot of people always ask me, they say, well, can you give me some kind of a matrix on what it is you do? As I was discussing with you yesterday, if I gave you a matrix, it'd be 500, 600 pages long. Every deal is different. It doesn't matter. I don't have a standard matrix where if it's this loan to value or if it's this borrower as far as the credit is concerned, none of that matters to me. What matters to me is if you're looking, listen, it's not rocket science. I'm going to lend more money in Newport Beach than I am in Compton. That's what it boils down to. So, and I don't know if you want to call it redlining, whatever it is. But the bottom line is, if you give me a property in Newport Beach, I'm going to give you more money than if you gave me a property in Compton. That's just the way it works. So, and as far as the interest rates are concerned, there's so many variables that come in this. I can't just say, well, okay, if it's 65% loan to value, I'm going to give you this interest rate. Everything, it's all on a case-by-case scenario. What does the property look like? Is it a piece of junk, or is it a really nice property? Is it a white elephant? Is it the most expensive property in the area? Everything comes into play. So that's why I can't give anybody like a specific matrix. For me, the basics are, I'm around 65% loan to value. And if it's a $3 or $4 million transaction, it might be a little bit lower. Or if you can show me that you have the ability to debt service my loan and pay me off, that is a different story. So everything is, there's no one formula.
Okay, Dave. So Dave, let me ask you this. That's huge. Let's go simpler forms, like almost like Eastvale, Inland Empire side, where the deal's like $500,000.
Sure.
That's kind of easy for you, right? Those kind of numbers, as long
Those
as
are cookie cutters.
Value.
Yeah.
What would that look like? Let's say I find a diamond in the rough. I can get it for $500,000, and I come to you with this amazing deal. Can you walk us through that process, please?
Oh,
Dave?
absolutely. If you came to me and said, listen, I have, excuse me, I have a property that's, I'm going to buy for $500,000, but it's worth probably 600, then we're going to have to look at it. Listen, right now it's not very difficult to comp out what things are worth. Unless, as I said to you yesterday, Kev, unless we're talking about a property that has, units up top and retail or commercial downstairs where it's mixed use, it might be a little bit more difficult for me to comp out. But a single family home, I don't even need an appraisal. Appraisals to me, I hope there's no appraisers on this. Appraisals to me are worthless. Absolutely worthless. I've had appraisals for properties that are way overvalued, and I've had them way undervalued.
Sean,
they don't know the area.
Did you what Dave said, Sean? He doesn't care about the appraisal.
Appraisals, to me, I've seen appraisals that I honestly are not worth the paper they're written on.
Wow.
Because it's true. I mean, the person I want to talk to is the guy who walks the beat in that neighborhood. That guy will know that property 10 times better than that appraiser. Wow. I would call that realtor up and say, hey, if I take this, and most of them are pretty cooperative with me, because I'll basically say to them, hey, listen, I'll let you list this property if I get this property back. And then they'll give me the wealth of information in that area. and they'll tell me, and then they'll give me the comps, and they'll tell me, okay, this property is more comparable to this, and this property is not because of that reason. That appraiser doesn't know. The appraiser doesn't have a clue. That appraiser goes on his desk, he looks at the numbers, and he says, okay, yeah, this property is square footage wise, bedroom wise, okay, so it's got to be the same. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So that's why listen, if there is an appraisal there, I'll look at it, but 99% of my deals do not require appraisals.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. I'll call a realtor in the area, and they will tell me exactly what I need to know about the property.
Guys, can you see how I said in a professional, sophisticated way, how he hustles? I mean, his dialect, his dialogue is so different to what we've been trained.
Yeah.
But how simple does he keep it? His formula is so simple and basic. A 65% loan to value.
Kevin, you're reinventing the wheel if you try to make it any harder than it is. It's not that hard. Like these guys will start giving me all this paperwork about this and this and this. Why? What do you need that for? All I need to know is what you're going to borrow and how you're going to pay me back. Everything else is irrelevant to me.
Right.
And that's why I've been very fortunate to be in this business for this long. And I've never had to one day even advertise out to anybody. I do a lot of business. How I met Kevin was Ted at United American. And I basically do all of their hard money. And because they know how the system works with me. And at the end of the day, my key is we have to have an exit strategy. If you're going to borrow the money from me, we can't keep kicking the can down the road, because my loans are short term. They're usually 24 to 36 months. So I need to know.
But that's 2 years. So that gives you that's good. 24 months. That gives you 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
Is it interest only payments?
Interest only payments. Yeah.
Awesome.
And usually you have, I'm required to keep, you're required to keep the loan for at least 6 months. My prepayment penalties are very soft prepays, which is I'm required 6 months worth of payments. So if you pay me off in the 4th month, you only owe me 2 more payments. It's not a 6-month prepayment penalty when you pay me off in 4 months. So I basically have to be guaranteed 6 months worth of interest. That's Excellent. It. Yeah, exactly. But it's not. It's honestly, the private money business is not that difficult. It isn't. People make it so much more difficult than it needs to be.
Days loan to value is 65% LTV. Can you explain what that means? Like what that means?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you own a home that's worth $100,000, I'll give you $65,000. That's it. So basically, and listen, that's not written in stone. I mean, if you, like you were saying earlier, if you had a property that was in the Inland Empire that you thought was worth 600 and you're buying it for 500, we can squeeze that a little bit. We might be able to go to 70%. That's why I say every property it's a case by case scenario. So if it's truly worth 600 and you're coming to me and you're saying you're buying it for 500, I could probably go up to 70% on that deal.
Right.
You know, I mean, it just depends. If I can verify that that's actually worth $600,000, I can definitely lend you a little bit more money than that.
Right.
I will tell you guys right now, I'm not a what do you call it? But that's not my specialty. My specialty is speed and efficiency. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, I don't bullshit with people. I don't. It's just if you have an approval from me, it's better than an approval from Bank of America. And I can, Ted will tell you that, Kevin. I've been doing business with Ted for 30 years. And also the most important part here is speed. If you guys come to me and you say, I need to do this deal because it fell out of the conventional side, I can get it done for you in a matter of, I told you yesterday, Kevin, I gave Ted $2 million in 48 hours.
Jeez. Did you guys hear that? We're not talking 200,000, we're talking 2 million.
Because at the end of the day, he had all the paperwork ready. He had the property that basically fell out of escrow. Now, granted, the borrower had to come up a little bit more cash to get the deal done, but otherwise they were going to lose it, and we did it.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you expect experience when it comes to? So let's say I'm just driving through the neighborhood and I see a distressed home. I knock on the door and I get to speak to the owner. do you expect experience when loaning money on hard money, or is it more you're looking at the value of the property itself, or do you
More
help
value,
assist
more, I'm worried more about the equity. So yes, as far as the experience is concerned, yeah, it helps unless you're doing it as far as if you're flipping the property. Yeah,
right?
I will need to see some experience. If this is your first rodeo, I'm gonna be a little bit reluctant as far as lending you the money that you're looking for. But if you've done this is your 30th or 40th home. That's why I say everything is so case by case, Kevin.
Right.
If a experienced flipper comes in and says, listen, I've done this before, because now what happens is that his cost is a lot less than some guy who just started doing this.
Right.
Most people who flip homes have no idea what all the side costs that are involved. They look at it and go, okay, well.
Exactly. So the soft cost is in the sense of getting the loan from you, but then the hard cost of all the material, the construction.
Absolutely. Yeah, they'll say, oh, I can redo this home for 20 grand. $50,000 later, they're still doing it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because this is the first time they've done it. There's so many things involved in flipping homes, because I did it for a while until I got the market just got too competitive.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I mean, you never even for experienced flippers, they'll tell you, you think the house it's going to cost 100 grand to redo the house. Now $130,000, you're not even finished.
Right.
So for the person who's never done it before, it's even worse. A lot of times where things end up costing a lot more than your typical transaction, where you think it's going to cost $20,000 to redo the house, and then you end up finding out that it costs $40,000.
Yeah.
So you were talking about as far as experience is concerned, yeah, I mean, listen, Kevin, if the loan to value fits, I honestly, to be honest with you, I don't really care about the experience, because if you're gonna go off of what the home is worth today, and we're gonna go off of that the loan value today, that's a different story. If we're gonna go off of what the future value is gonna be, then yes, the experience comes into play, because I want to know if this guy knows what he's doing.
Dave, do you know any construction managers or flippers yourself that would get involved on a deal? Okay, like a joint venture?
Oh, I don't normally joint venture with people simply because I just don't know what.
No, I apologize. I mean, if we don't know construction ourselves, or we find the deal, do you know?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my, okay. Oh Lord, I have numerous crews that can come in and do that in a heartbeat.
Excellent.
That's why every person I know, I always tell them, if the deal is good, don't turn it down. We'll figure out a way to get it.
Oh,
damn, if it's a good deal, we'll figure out a way to get it done.
Got it.
It just the only time that becomes an issue is when you get these guys that come in and they find the deal and they said, I want half the profits. That doesn't work for me. Right. It has to make sense for both parties.
It's got to be civil.
And to me, Kevin, most of my transactions have to make sense for the borrower and the investor. If it doesn't, it doesn't work.
I think that's a big disconnect, right? In people, they think they've mastered it. No, you haven't. This is symbiotic. It's a joint venture. It's not just 100%. A one-way street. It's symbiotic. It's win-win.
100%.
And sometimes the first or second deal, it's a learning curve. You might take you through hooks, but let me tell you what, you polish your skills, man, you're dynamite.
100%. I have borrowers that now I've done with 8, 9, 10 deals with. So now it's a lot easier. I don't have to ask them all the paperwork that I did in the beginning, because I didn't know them in the beginning. Now that I know them, I don't really even care about whatever it is. The property now, to be honest with you, I'll give an example. I have a client in Huntington Harbor that I've done now, I don't know, 12 deals with. Yes. And I just did a deal with them last week, and I didn't even really look at the deal. I honestly didn't, because his track record is so good with me. He pays like clockwork. Matter of fact, how he works is that as soon as we're done, he will FedEx me 6 checks in advance for the next 6 payments that are post dated. Yeah, and it'll say here. So when April comes, cash this. When May comes, cash this. So I know him now well enough that I don't even bother. He says to me, okay, this property and blah, blah, blah address, I'm buying it for 2.5, I'm putting down 35%, I go done. I don't even ask him any other questions.
So did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? It's now relationship based now. So first of all, it was like unit based or asset based. Yep. It's now converted into relationship where he doesn't even question the association anymore. He just, great. How much?
It's like anything else you do. if you don't know the person, I'm like, how do I know I can trust you?
Yeah.
But now that I've done 11 deals with you, I know how you do, I know how you work, and I know that you're able to pay me back, and I know that you have the ability to do what you say you do. So now it makes it 10 times easier for me.
He's implanted, in a sense, almost those seeds. He has 6 checks in advance to hold on to.
Yeah.
That's actually quite brilliant, Dave. That's very smart.
Oh,
I mean,
no, 100%. So now with him, I have that relationship with him. So I don't even worry about what the hell he's buying, because he's not going to buy anything stupid, because he's a veteran in what he does. So he's not going to go out and buy something that's like, I'm like, oh my God, you way overpaid for this property. That's never going to happen. This guy knows what he's doing. So that's why relationships in this business is everything to me.
Yes, that's why when I asked Ted, I went, because I go to him for all my lending advice and insights and purchases and so forth. And there's a few of us that I've known for since 2014. But anyway, and I know his team and so forth.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what, Ted? I know you're the commercial, because I do some commercial stuff up in Los Angeles. And he put me in with a bank up there. And I was like, wow. I mean, he knows, not only is he big in Orange County, I mean, he's got a good sphere of influence.
Oh yeah, because again, he's been in the business for a long time.
Yeah.
For a very long time. I don't know if you guys all know Ted. I have to tell you guys a little story. Originally, when you look at Ted's page, whatever it is on it, you see the picture of him.
Like the 80s style, yeah.
Yes.
Greek legend.
And then when I first showed my friend, they're like, wait, that's Ted? I go, yeah, that's Ted 25 years, 30 years ago. That's not Ted now.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
In his mind it is, but not in flesh.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's classic.
Exactly.
Let me get some advice from you, because I think we all had this kind of question in mind. I did see a question here that I'll ask for you in a second, please. But Dave, let's say we want to start a fund or a organization where together we can come together as professionals to find a deal and then present it to you to fund that deal. Does that work as well, or do you have any advice there? Do you guys know what I'm trying to say? What I'm asking?
Well, sure. No. You're saying to put together a fund to start acquiring properties. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. To be honest with you, Kevin, I don't. On that side of it, in regards to for you guys, in regards to the fund, to me, it's much more simple to do it on a one-on-one basis, rather it be just a single person, or if that person owns an LLC. When you start getting into funds, now you're gonna have to make sure that all these people are on the same page. That's absolutely the key, because a lot of times people will be like, "Well, I want to sell it for this much," and the other guy will, but no, I think it's worth more money. Oh, I think it's worth less money.
Too many shifts in the kitchen. That's right, absolutely. Too many.
Exactly. But if I've done it before, where you've had funds where one guy comes in, he goes, I'm the leader. You guys are basically investors. You guys don't have any say in what I do, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to start a fund. Each guy puts in 250 grand, and I will be the, basically, for lack of a better word, the manager who handles everything. And you guys don't have a say in what happens, because you guys don't know the business. I know the business. So I'm going to tell you, this is what we're going to do. This is what it's going to cost us to do it. And this is what we're going to sell it for.
Excellent.
And then they don't, like you said, too many cooks in the kitchens. And then now you're just going to say, you know what? The chef says this is what we're doing. You don't have an option to say yes or no. Right. You're a silent investor, and this is all you're going to get. This is what we're going to do. And you don't have, I guess, for lack of a better word, you don't have voting rights.
Right. You're a silent partner. Yeah. And that's the concern, is a lot of people, I know you know this, Dave, but because I mentor coach agents, I always, and they know this, I repeat this. This is a business. So you have to treat it like a business, so that it
100%.
behaves like a business. So you get paid.
You got to keep the emotions out of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is business. Exactly. 100%. This isn't elementary anymore. This is the real deal. But
Kevin, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen where, 4 or 5 people get involved in a transaction, and they get into, I hate to say this, a pissing contest.
Yeah.
I want to do this. No, that's not right. I want to do this. Then it blows up.
Here's what I love, Tony. So let's let me entertain you for a while, okay? Tony and Stephanie and Sean and Rogine and Christine and Seema and Sam. Let's say we get a loan from Day. Here's the nice thing. Let's say that we know there's termite infestation like crazy, because that's why the homes devalued,
Sure.
falling off the market in a sense. We can use our termite inspectors that can even fund maybe the roof, maybe the repairs. So do you see how I'm trying to say how we can leverage our associations, our relationships? You know what I mean, Sean?
Oh, absolutely.
Because some of our vendors will actually fund the repairs that they get back in escrow. So when it closes,
Oh,
they get
wow.
the money
Okay.
back.
Sure. Okay.
So this is how we can become smart, guys. We put together, we leverage our relationships in a smart way. This is business.
Sure.
So we all win. So now the termite guy gets paid. He's able to get some of his money back out with a little bit of interest because he doesn't charge a lot. He just wants the business. And we keep it's a numbers game. You keep it over and over again. This isn't ones and twosies. That's not why we do what we do. We do it for
100%. I preach that to everybody. I preach that to every broker that brings a deal to me. This is the relationship. I'm not going to try to, this is not a one-time thing. I don't want to do just one deal. That's why to me, it's not, listen, I'll do a deal, even though I may not make as much money, but I build a relationship with that person. Now they're going to bring me more business. So I don't need to hit a home run on every deal I do.
Right.
Like you just said, it's a relationship business. I'm here for the long term. So for me, I'd rather make a little bit of in the front and then start getting more and more business from you guys rather than just trying to get, you know what, I need this on this specific deal, because then you'll lose them. So listen, I'm not going to sit there and think that I'm the only guy in this business doing this. There's 1,000 people out there. What I will hope to prove to you guys is that when you guys do business with me, you'll understand I don't bullshit people. Bullshit doesn't pay anything. If I tell you I can do the deal, I'm going to do the deal. If I tell you I can't do the deal, I don't make money unless the deal gets done. So of course I want to do the deal, but I can't do every deal. There's going to be a deal that I can't do, and it is what it is. Right. You know, so what you guys will learn when you work with me is that within the first day, I will tell you, well, actually, you know what? I take that back. Within the first hour, I'll tell you if I can do the deal or not.
Right, exactly. Not just from your own mental ability that you've mapped through, that you've built over decades, but just from your understanding, from looking at the deal and looking at the MLS, whatever it may be. Now, I know you said this before, but I want to help the audience understand, and everyone else that watches this after we've posted this online, is do you have anything in a sense of underwriting in your business with private money, Day? Oh my gosh.
Oh my head. I'm the underwriter.
Sean, do you understand what they just said? No underwriting, no processing. Here, it's him. Here's the guy.
There's no underwriting. Listen, I've done this long enough where I know what works and what doesn't work. So this is the problem with the conventional market. You have an underwriter that underwrites. They don't know anything. It's like, what are you underwriting?
Oh, they're tearing apart. They ruin the deal.
I'll give you guys a quick story. I won't take long. So I have a friend of mine who plays golf with me at the club I belong to. His family owns the largest Budweiser distributorship in the Inland Empire. The guy gets paid $2 million a year to do nothing. He wanted to go buy a condo in Maui. So he goes, will you help me finance it? And I said, I don't do the conventional stuff, but I know a friend that will do it for you. The guy put down 60% in cash. 60%. So he was looking for 40% loan. And I got to tell you guys, it's funny. The only reason why he wanted to borrow this because he was on his fourth wife. And he wanted to borrow this because if there's a loan on the property, she's not going to want it. That's the only reason. He could have wrote a check for it. So my friend, who's a conventional lender, came back to me. He said, after 40 days, I said, what is it? What's taking so long? You would go to church every Sunday hoping this guy doesn't pay. He's putting down 60% in cash. This is what I'm talking about with underwriting. That underwriter, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, is an idiot.
Yeah.
Why?
I love you. I love you. I really love you. You can freely talk as much as you want because this is business. Yeah.
In that scenario, if that person can fog a mirror, I'm going to lend that money to him. Absolutely. Why would you not lend money to somebody who makes $2 million a year, who's putting down 60% in cash?
Right.
That underwriter should approve that loan in about 3 seconds. Mm. What are the risks involved in that loan? You tell me what the risks are involved in that loan. I don't care. I don't care if he doesn't make a single payment. Great. Who cares? You are at 40% loan to value.
Absolutely.
Where's the risk?
Absolutely.
You tell me where the risk is. Right. So they asked them all these questions about why his income fluctuates, but this and all this stuff. I'm like, why do you even care?
Why did you
Why
buy
do
that
you
car
even
6
care?
months ago? Yeah.
This guy makes $180,000 a month for the last 9 years, and he's putting down 60%.
It's a no-brainer. Absolutely.
But that's my problem with the conventional market.
Right.
Like I remember back after the 08, 09, whatever debacle was, people were, all these conventional lenders came in and said, we're going to do make sense underwriting. There's 0 sense in the underwriting. There isn't. It makes no sense to me. So that's why I commend people who can do conventional loans. I
Right,
can never.
right. Lots of hoops. Absolutely. They,
Oh my God.
dig into your memory and give us a best case scenario in a sense of somebody getting into the business of private money lending, and then worst case scenario, like, you know, if you have 2 stories you can share with us, because it's always helpful to hear other scenarios to kind of help us with our understanding.
In regards to somebody who's new getting into the business?
Yes, and they did it right, and what they did that really helped elevate them, accelerate them in the business.
Oh,
Because
Kevin,
we look at deals all day long.
the running joke I have is my daughter is a private money lender, because now everybody is a private money lender. During the time right before this whole interest rate, I guess you could say, when all the interest rates dropped, when conventional lending was so hard to do, and then when subprime went away, basically everybody wanted to do hard money. But the problem with hard money is, like I was telling you guys earlier in the story, a private money lender is only as good as his investors. If you don't have investors, now you're gonna have to go to Joe, and Joe's got to go to Jim, and everybody wants to get paid down that line. So now you go, somebody calls me, as I say, you call me and say, hey, I have a deal, and I don't have the investor. I'm gonna have to call Jim. Jim's gonna call John, and then they all want to get paid. So now I'm gonna come back to you and say, you know what? Yeah, I can do this deal, Kevin, but it's 8 points. Who wants to pay 8 points?
Yeah.
I have the luxury. What I have is I have the power of the pen. I write the checks. I don't have to go to anybody else to get this, to get the funds. So the difference is all these other guys that are starting in the business, they don't have that access. That's why I was telling you guys in the beginning, that story to me that was so invaluable when that guy gave me the book. That book was basically the Bible to me.
A book of business, right? A book of business that you gave me.
The book of investors.
Oh,
there's plenty of business out there.
Oh my goodness me. Oh.
Kevin, there's plenty of business out there.
Oh,
It's the investors that you have to get.
Sean, are you listening today, Sean? This guy's out of control.
Let's just say if Sean calls me on a deal, excuse me, guys, and I say, okay, yeah, Sean, I can do the deal, but I got to go to 3 other guys to get the money. All 3 of those guys don't want to get paid. So now I'm going to go back to Sean and go, yeah, I can do the deal, but it's going to be 7 points because I have to pay him, and him. As opposed to him coming to me now, I say, yeah, this is a deal. It's my money, or it's my partner's money, and it's direct. I don't have to go to anybody to get that money. So
let me just show you something. What so you can understand, you can see for yourself, and your mind can map this. So this is what a conventional loan looks like. I put it as backwards, but just in conventional, the agent, it's about a 10% cost to doing business. So on $1 million home, that home buyer is giving $100,000 to different associates. Agent 6%, the loan conventional is about 2.5%, escrow is about 1 point, and then other termite, a title is 0.5%, 10%. There's no guarantees. You know what I mean? You know what that's like, guys. So what I like about what Dave's saying is that, you know, his is simpler and much better, much quicker. And at the end of the day, it's like crunching time. Literally, you're like, I love your name. Day is in days. You can get your loan funded from day. You know what I mean? From day 1 to day 3 or 4, whatever it may be.
So yeah, listen, I'm not trying to tell you guys anything. It's just, I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I try to make it as simple as possible. And that's been my philosophy for the last 30 years. I don't try to do anything that's not necessary. And that's the reason why I got out of the conventional business, because there was so much unnecessary paperwork. And, you know, knock on wood, I've been doing this now, excuse me, guys, for almost now 88. So 33 years. I've never lost an investor a dime.
Day, and you look 33, Day. I'm having fun with you. Day, let me ask you. Can you just give me an idea of the good and the bad and the ugly? Okay, what's kind of worst case scenario that something happened where you didn't see it coming? I'm not saying it was your fault, but maybe it was the investor's fault.
Oh, I have the perfect story.
Okay.
I have the perfect story. I lent this lady who had a high rise in San Francisco, right across from AT&T Park. And at the time, the high rise was worth about 1.4, and she owned it free and clear. Well, she was making some investments in Korea. So originally I lent her 300 grand, and I lent her another 200 grand, and I lent her another, at the end of the day, I think I lent her $700,000. Well, she couldn't pay at the end because the deals that she invested the money for in San Francisco went, I'm sorry, in Korea went south. So it took me 2.5 years to get my money back. But hold on. There's a silver lining there though. And this is the reason why you have to be very careful when you're lending in Northern California, because that 9th District Court they're all about borrowers. They don't care about anything about the lender. The lender is the devil. They look at you, they look at me as the devil. So they stretched on, they filed the bankruptcy, and they refiled it. But the thing is, on all my loans, I have a default rate. So the minute the loan goes into default, if you're paying 8%, now you're paying 13. Mm-hmm. So when she went into default for the 2.5 years, and I tried to negotiate with her, I said, what you don't understand is that you kicking this can down the road is doing nothing but costing you money.
Yeah, it's going to hurt you long term.
And she didn't care. She thought, I think what she was doing is waiting for this deal in Korea to come back, and it didn't. So we ended up selling the property on the steps of the court. We got all our money back, and our effective yield was about 17%.
Yes.
Because of all the default rates and also the late fees, and we charged the 13% on the late fee, and it compounded.
Guys, compound. Remember compound.
So for 2.5 years, we basically got 13% on our money. So then we added up and it compounded. So the effective yield was about 17%.
So please, Dave, I love that word, compound. I love it. Educate us on your understanding of the compound effect, please, Dave.
Well, in regards to compound, I mean, it's just that. How I always try to explain to my investors is, if you don't need the interest payments, put it back into the deal. So if for instance, if they're getting paid monthly, because how it works for me is that if their interest only payments paid monthly. So I always tell them the power of compounding. Put the money back. Let the money work for you. That's the only time that's how you obtain wealth. I don't need to tell you guys that. If you're gonna go and spend the money, and then all you're doing is that money is working for you, and that's not gonna never get any bigger. But if you have 100,000, if you keep putting the money back in, now you're investing 110,000. Now you're investing 120,000, and it just keeps growing. That's how you obtain wealth. So you can handle that.
Right. So today,
Kevin, most people, the problem is they spend the money, they get the interest and they spend it. So now that 100,000 is only be the $100,000 that's working for you. Instead of, I keep telling them, put it back in, and that's how you keep growing and growing it.
Sean, are you getting this, Sean? This is, hey, Tony, hey, Steffi, this is, I love all the other hosts that we've had, but Dave, you're pretty badass. And I really appreciate it, because I'm trying to create an investment mastermind here to look at more of wealth creation than just being rich. Because I've made a lot of money. I've also lost a lot of money, and I've made a lot of deals, and I've also tried to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't work. Nope. The fundamentals work, Dave.
Yeah.
What reinvents the wheel? Yeah.
100%.
Those Facebooks and those Instagrams, they're one in like 1 trillion. I'm not talking like in 1 million. I mean, they're in the universe, they're 1 in 1 trillion, if even that. You know what I mean?
But you guys all know, somebody who's going to make a decision as big as buying a home or financing a home, they're not going to Facebook or Instagram to look for it. Correct? Yes. I mean, social media to me is, my daughter's great at it. I don't know how it works, but for me, it's like, if I was going to make a decision that big, I'm not going on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook to make that decision.
Yes,
I'm going to
yes,
call
yes.
people who know people. I'm going to say, hey, can you recommend me a good realtor? Or can you recommend me a good guy that knows how to give me the proper financing? I'm not going to go on social media to do that.
Yes,
Not
yes.
a million years.
Right, right. You don't have to
But
advertise. And that's what I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, that he's the kind of guy you have to kind of like hunt. You have to go search for him and find him, because that network is different. It's not
yes,
available everywhere. Like,
it
you know,
is.
we know if we need
Yeah.
a direct lender, ask another agent or ask somebody that's bought a house. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? A guy like Day, it's like they're a select few. No, I'm not trying to kiss your butt yet. I'm just trying to
No,
be
I understand. Yeah,
transparent.
no, but you'd be surprised. I mean, after 30 years in this business, there are a lot of people that don't know I exist, which is because I don't advertise. I don't know. If you don't have a relationship with me, you're gonna have to find me through somebody that knows me. You
Right.
know, it's like I have a lot of realtors that come to me and they said, God, where were you a year ago? I've been here. I haven't gone anywhere. But it's just, if you don't know who I am, you're not going to find me, because I'm not going out and knocking on doors or telling all these realtors, because listen, like I said, I've never had to advertise, because I have plenty of business now with just the people that I deal with now. I deal with probably a core of, I don't know, 20 people, 15 people, 18 people on a regular basis. I do have these people on and off that come to me that I haven't worked with before, but otherwise I mean, listen, I would love to be able to go out there and knock on doors and do these things with realtors. I don't have the patience for that.
Right, Dave, absolutely. Dave, would you mind if I shared your contact details with the?
Oh, absolutely.
Guys, I'm gonna put
100%.
Dave's contact information in the message box right now. Reach out to him, start building a relationship, because I believe the market is very interesting. I do see a shift coming of some sort. I believe.
Sure.
I mean, I've got my philosophy. Can you give us your perception of what you see coming in the near future?
Well, I think right now the market's going to be pretty stable for a while, simply because the Feds are saying that they're not going to raise interest rates for quite some time. So if the rates stay as they are now, the buying power is unreal. And that's what I'm seeing now. I mean, like, I live in Corona del Mar, and the prices in Corona del Mar right now, to me, are absolutely ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at $1,400 a square foot for a cottage,
right.
those are, to me, Beverly Hills Bel Air numbers. But now Beverly Hills Bel Air, it's $1,800 to $2,000 a square foot.
Jeez.
No, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. What I'm a little worried, Kevin, is that how sustainable is this?
Right. We have forbearance ending at the end of June.
Yeah.
Biden 3 weeks ago just extended it to the end of June.
Yeah.
That's one concern I have. I know that's going to affect HUD and conventional loans.
Sure.
The second thing I see is our market becomes hot in April. You know, I'm talking conventional residential. I'm not talking investment side. So as agents, we prepare for the April market, because we know that's when it starts. Homes start going on the market then. July, it's peak, and then towards September, it's the bell curve. And then at September, it goes, kids are back at school. You know, well, now COVID will be over. Hopefully, we pray. You know, you're back from vacation. Do you know what I mean? So, but to me, with when Newsom put that announcement out that he's going to block all the bulk hedge funds coming and just buying California properties, to me, there was a sign of something to come. So I'm not saying it's now, but it's in the near future. So that to me is like.
I will tell you guys this. I will tell you guys this. If an opportunity comes, and obviously if you can do it yourself, great. And if you have the ability to do it all yourself, great. But if not, reach out to me, please. I would love to do business with you guys. If it's a matter of we joint venture on something, no problem. That's why I would say to people, if it's a good deal, don't pass it up.
And don't give it to your investors.
And if it's a situation where you don't have the ability to put in enough cash, just as long as you're reasonable with me, like, I don't want you to call me up and say, hey, I have this property, it's worth 600 grand, I can buy it for 500, but I want, I want half of the profits, like you were saying, like I was saying earlier. That's not going to work.
Right.
You know,
be smart about it. Be civil, be smart. Yeah.
Exactly. If you're reasonable with me, we can both make money. Because to me, on my side, between myself and all of my partners, unless you came to me and asked me for $20 million, I'd probably say no. But we have some resources. We have some resources to basically take care of what we need. So if you brought me, a typical $800,000-900,000 deal, you can bring me 20 of those.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'll buy every one of those.
Right. I love
If
this.
they
Blue,
make sense.
yeah, blue collar 720 all day long. I can sell 727 all day long. That's when it gets into the million to 2 million. To above 2 million, that's not silly money. So to me, anything below 2 million, sweet. But of course, I love that 750 range.
Yeah.
And then 2 million
I
to
can
10
do those
million.
all day. So,
Exactly.
so if it's a good deal, listen, if you want just the financing and you keep the profits to yourself, I would do the same. But if you don't have the ability as far as the down payment and all that stuff, reach out to me. We'll make a deal. We'll make it happen. That's why I always say I hate to sound like a broken record player. If it's a good deal, do not turn it down.
Brilliant. Okay, guys, I put Dave's name in the chat box. I also put the link to Gavin Newsom's new law, which to me is an indicator, guys, something's going to happen. We don't know when. Nobody has a crystal ball.
Sure.
Here's the nice thing is, if you see a deal, don't give it to an investor. Come to me. Let's go to Dave. Let's sit down and put together a strategy that it's yours.
I would rather have us make the money than the investors.
Absolutely. Exactly. I mean, I've given a lot of deals away. I'm over that now. But anyway, we live and learn.
Yeah.
Dave, thank you.
It's very simple. It's very simple with me, guys. You call me on a deal, even if it's for a client. You say, I got a client who's trying to buy this and this. They don't qualify for this and this. I will literally tell you in the first 3 to 4 minutes if I can do that deal or not. Because I know, I mean, I'll ask you some basic questions. And at that point, I'll know if the deal is doable for me.
Right. And let me tell you the association, why Dave is so important, because he is I know his people in a sense of, I know Hal Ensling and United American, and then I know Ted over at United American. When you come, this highly recommended, you can see Dave is of quality and excellence. So this isn't just a guy that, and I don't mean you're a guy, what I mean, this isn't some overnight guy, hard money, sharp and difficult. And Dave's been doing this for over 33 years. I think you've been doing it longer, Dave. Maybe in high school and school days, you were doing some deals, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But you can see there's a long track record here, and he comes highly recommended. So the reputation's phenomenal. Dave, you're amazing. You've been grand, right, guys?
Glad to help. This is a learning curve for me too, because I've never done this.
Well, we've had over 30 people on this, and it depends. But also, after this day, it goes viral, so that you get thousands of views, and who knows there. But Dave, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're very
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you, Kevin.
Guys, give Dave a hand. That was great. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Okay.
You're all good.
All right.
Guys, any quick questions? Sorry, Dave, just one second. Any questions?
Yeah, anytime, anything. Sure.
So the best way to actually invest is to actually keep it, maybe rent it out. Is that kind of the
Long term, yeah. You want ownership. Don't sell it, you'll get rich. But if you own it, you become wealthy. It's passive income. While you're sleeping, you're getting paid.
And you say you refinance it after 2 years?
Yes. So you take his loan
So
and the
see,
interest.
Kevin just hit the nail on the head. That's how you get rich, with passive income.
Yeah.
That's how you build wealth.
And with Day is, you've got 2 years, you're only paying him interest. And in that time, you fix the home, you get it rented.
Because you don't want, because during that time, you guys have to remember, this is a bridge loan financing. This is not permanent. So you want the payment to be as low as possible during the first 6 months or a year. You don't want, because if I amortize this over 10 years, your payment's gonna be through the roof.
Right.
You want the payment to be as low as possible during that time you're doing everything you need to do. And then when you get then you'll get the conventional financing, or you just sell the property. But you want to keep all the cash to do whatever you need to do to the property.
Yeah.
You know,
I would do refi and then go buy more properties. Come see Day and buy multiple properties. Go from one, the second year double, the third year double. So you go from 1 to 2 to 4, double. By your 10th year, you've got 500 odd. I mean, I can't do, you're smarter than me with numbers, Day, but you got over 500 units. You got half $1 billion in investment properties in 10 years time, because you double it every year.
That's why I always tell my investors, put the money back in. If you can afford to put the money back in, put the money back in.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Stephanie, what were you saying for Day?
Remember the 35%, so like he gives you the 65%, but if you don't have the 35%, what is there a gap in between there that you?
It's all about the deal. So that's his stand, that's kind of his expectations. But if you don't have 35% to put down,
but Stephanie, this is what I was saying. If you come across a deal and you don't have the 35% to put down for me to do the deal, we can talk about it. If you have 10% and you want me to do the other 90, well, then we're gonna have to figure out some kind of a joint venture and how it makes sense. Because at the end of the day, the risk has to more of the rewards. If I'm taking all the risk and you're taking all the rewards, the deal doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, well, okay, well here, it's, I want this and this and this. I'm like, okay, so you're going to make a windfall of money and I take all the risk. Why would I do that?
Right.
It has to make sense, you know?
It
That's
does.
why in the beginning of the conversation, I was saying to you guys, it has to make sense for both parties.
Right.
That's if it doesn't make sense for me and it makes sense for you, I'm not doing it. And if it's for me, I'm going to charge you all this money and it doesn't make sense for you. It doesn't make the deal doesn't work.
And in all fairness, everything's negotiable.
100%.
Exactly. So
Nothing
you
is
sit down
written
with
in
Day,
stone.
you crunch the numbers because the numbers are not going to lie. They're going to, you know, this Day, they're not going to lie. And then you negotiate from there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, because we're delving into this and we have Day as our part of our team, Day's part of our team now. He's our private money lender. We've got our title, we've got Tony that can do the HVAC. This part of our team. Day is just that when we find a deal, we take it to Day if it's fundable or not. If Day says no, then you have to walk away. Because then if it makes no sense to him, literally, then that's just silly now.
Because you have to understand, I don't make money unless the deal closes. So I want to do every deal, but that's not realistic.
Right.
You know, so, but again, but if there's a good deal there and you don't have the ability to put down the 35%, we can still do it and make money.
Absolutely. Day's got all the context and all. Day, you've been phenomenal. We need to bring it on again. I think what we need to put together a deal and then take it to Day and a Day process, because that's how we're going to learn is practice, not talking.
100%.
So let's
100%.
do that, guys. Let's put together our own deal and take it to Day and work out from there. Sean, you in, Sean? Tony? I know Stevie did, because Stevie's looking right there. She's like all excited.
We'd love to do it.
Great on this deal. Day, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's precious.
No, it's my pleasure, guys.
Yeah, it is sacred to me. And I appreciate that. And thank you very much for your time.
Okay, guys. Talk to you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Cheers.